Tikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapara Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Virjana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakans Vitam Scha Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagapate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishubhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Triviyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranitinanda Shadvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Divinity and Divine Service, text number 6. Okay. Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Ito Bhaktira Hokshaje Ahaitukya Pratiyata Yatma Suprasidati Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Ito Bhaktira Hokshaje Ahaitukya Pratiyata Yatma Suprasidati Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Ito Bhaktira Hokshaje Ahaitukya Pratiyata Yatma Suprasidati Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Ito Bhaktira Hokshaje Ahaitukya Pratiyata Yatma Suprasidati Sa that Vai certainly Pumsam for mankind Haraha sublime Dharma occupation Yataha by which Bhakti devotional service Adhokshaje unto the transcendence Ahaituki causeless Apratiyata unbroken Yaya by which Atma the self Suprasidati completely satisfied. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The supreme occupation Dharma for all humanity is that which man can obtain the loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Please repeat. The supreme occupation Dharma for all humanity is that by which man can attain to the loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted, completely satisfy the self. Purport. In this statement, Sri Sutta Goswami answers the first question of the sages of Naimisharanya. The sages asked him to summarize the whole range of revealed scriptures and present the most essential part so that fallen people, or the people in general, might easily take it up. The Vedas prescribe two different types of occupation for the human being. One is called the pravritti marga, or the path of sense enjoyment, and the other is called the nivritti marga, or the path of renunciation. The path of enjoyment is inferior, and the path of sacrifice for the supreme cause is superior. The material existence of the living being is a diseased condition of actual life. Actual life is spiritual existence, or Brahma-bhuta existence, where life is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. Material existence is temporary, illusory, and full of miseries. There is no happiness at all. There is just a futile attempt to get rid of the miseries, and temporary cessation of misery is falsely called happiness. Therefore, the path of progressive material enjoyment, which is temporary, miserable, and illusory, is inferior. The devotional service to the Supreme Lord, which leads one to eternal, blissful, and all-cognizant life, is called the superior quality of occupation. This is sometimes polluted when mixed with the inferior quality. For example, adoption of devotional service for material gain is certainly an obstruction to the progressive path of renunciation. Renunciation or abnegation for ultimate good is certainly a better occupation than engagement in the diseased condition of life. Such enjoyment only aggravates the symptoms of disease and increases its duration. Therefore, devotional service to the Lord must be pure in quality. That is, without the least desire for material enjoyment. One should therefore accept the superior quality of occupation in the form of the devotional service to the Lord without any tinge of unnecessary desire, fruitive action, and philosophical speculation. This alone can lead one to perpetual solace in his service. We have purposely denoted dharma as occupation because the root meaning of the word dharma is that which sustains one's existence. A living being's subsistence of existence is to coordinate his activities with his eternal relation with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Krishna is the central pivot of living beings, and he is the all-attractive living entity or eternal form amongst all other living beings or eternal forms. Each and every living being has these eternal form in the spiritual existence, and Krishna is the eternal attraction for all of them. Krishna is the complete whole, and everything else is the part and parcel. The relation is one of the servant and the served. It is transcendental and is completely distinct from our experience of material existence. This relation of servant and the servant is the most congenial form of intimacy. One can realize it as devotional service progresses. Everyone should engage himself in that transcendental loving service of the Lord, even in the present conditional state of material existence. That will gradually give one the clue to actual life and please him to complete satisfaction. So the verse again, Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktira hokshaje ahaitu kepratiyata yatma suprasidati. The supreme occupational dharma for all humanity is that by which men can attain to the loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self. Among Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tanamane Namaste Saraswatunde Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskadyade Satarane. As the Bhagavatam is the Amala Purana, the pure Purana, so our acharyas such as Srila Jiva Goswami and others such as Srila Rupa Goswami, who compiled the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, has taken his Pratibhasha Sutras from Srimad Bhagavatam and other such literatures. For instance, the very essence of the nectar of devotion, or Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, is Anyabhilasita Shunyam Jnana Karma Dadavritam Anukulena Krishnanu Shilanam Bhakti Uttama. That there's ordinary bhakti and then there's pure bhakti. Ordinary bhakti is, as explained here, pure bhakti is for Krishna. In other words, it's not for any demigod or any ordinary person. Bhakti has to be for Krishna. Otherwise, Krishna is a source of love and pleasure. He's the source of everything. Anything else worshipped is inferior, or anyone else worshipped is inferior. Ekla Krishna Ara Shabhavrita. Krishna is the supreme, and everyone else is subordinate. Now, one may not accept that, but then that's all right. Krishna is not speaking the Bhagavad Gita to persons who don't accept him. As a matter of fact, Krishna says, if someone doesn't accept him, then yeyatamam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyam. They'll get their result, whatever they desire. And at the same time, it should be anukulyena. That is, it should be following the authorities. In other words, if Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whatever he spoke was perfect. There's no need for someone to add something to it, and there's certainly no need for someone to take something away from it. Therefore, as I mentioned, that of the hundreds of commentaries, as we heard today in the Giriraj Maharaj's book, Prabhupada repeating that same message, that if you don't like Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, fine, then go somewhere else. There's 600 commentaries or hundreds of commentaries, and they don't really touch on the spirit of the Bhagavad Gita, that Krishna is God. And if you don't like it, that's why we're in the material world. Everyone's in the material world, because we don't like the fact that God exists and that he happens to be a person. So go somewhere else. That's fine. The whole material universe is open to you. And 8,400,000 species of life, you can choose whatever you want. We have our free will. But for those who are interested in discovering and experiencing Krishna consciousness, therefore Krishna speaks Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. And he has a qualification. Arjuna's qualification is that he was a devotee and a friend of Krishna. So if we want to become a devotee of Krishna, if we want to become his friend, then Krishna tells us how to do it. No one came to the material world except for a few liberated souls because they wanted to become a devotee and a friend of Krishna. Matter of fact, everyone came here because they wanted to become, everyone else to become their devotee. They wanted to become God themselves. And obviously, if Krishna is in the competition to become God, no one else can win. So therefore, the material world means everyone can become as free to become God, the controller and the enjoyer and the friend of others, except for Krishna. He's not allowed. Therefore, when I went to the University of Austin in Texas, and I went to, because my major was psychology at the University of Buffalo, and I went to the psychology department to make some engagements there in Krishna consciousness. And everyone in the psychology department at the University of Texas in Austin rejected the idea of the Hare Krishnas appearing in their class. Because basically speaking, their philosophy is completely against the existence of God, and what to speak of a supreme person who's God. And they didn't want anyone else to hear about there could be a person named Krishna and he might be God. Matter of fact, the person that created the so-called science of psychology that I studied at the University of Buffalo, his name was B.F. Skinner. And he wrote in one place that one day we'll discover where the old man God is and we'll go and kill him. Not exactly the most friendly philosophy. Therefore, I went to university as a student for a couple of years. And obviously my teachers weren't very much enthusiastic about being questioned about these things. They thought I was, anyhow, whatever. So, generally speaking, the material world exists as a place, it's everything minus Krishna. The kingdom of God, like Ravana wanted to create, without Ram. As Prabhupada mentioned today, what we read. Now, here it mentions that unmotivated and uninterrupted. Krishna also says that in Bhagavad Gita. He's not shy about it. He says that those who actually represent him, that's what they talk about. How to become uninterrupted and unmotivated in service to Krishna. That's all they talk about. That's the aim of what they're doing. Now, obviously, Prabhupada said if we were talking about what the price of gold was and how to invest, we'd have a lot more people coming to class. Even if we talked about the sex life of grasshoppers, we'd probably get more. But people are not interested in finding out how to become uninterrupted and unmotivated in service to a supreme person. This is exactly why 99.9% of the people take birth in this material universe. In all the different species of life. Because that's not what they came here for. That's not their desire. That's what they're trying to avoid. But for the few fortunate, Brahmande Brahmate Kon Bhagavan Jeev, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. For the few fortunate people who have that interest, after wandering up and down throughout the whole universe, trying to find happiness here in 8,400,000 species of life, that they may get the seed of bhakti by hearing these instructions from persons who actually want the other souls to become uninterrupted and unmotivated in their service to Krishna. And if they hear from the right source and they have the right attitude and they understand the process, is not only to gain theoretical knowledge because they're a little inquisitive, what is this Hare Krishna movement all about? Why do these devotees seem so blissful? Are they taking drugs or are they brainwashed or what? At the first, one may be curious about that. So for those who are interested in diving deeper, it is not just curiosity or even trying to hear submissively, trying to figure out what's going on, but also seva, service. And that's what applies this within our life. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, it's just like licking on the bottle of honey. The honey, we may see the honey, and we may theoretically hear about its glories, but if we don't go inside the bottle, we'll never really taste what it's all about. Therefore, it says here, giving up, Prabhupada mentions three things. He said that those who give up fruitive activities, or first of all, desires, and then fruitive activities, then philosophical speculation. So this is a journey. First of all, desires. People come and they find out, those who are distressed especially, they come to the Hare Krishna movement asking, how can I get free from distress? I've been taking so many drugs for so long and my condition, my stress is getting worse. I'm doing so many exercises, taking so many vitamin pills. They keep on telling me that it's good to eat meat. Illicit sex makes you, strong and healthy, keeps you enlivened. That intoxication, you need a little bit of wine with every meal to digest the meal. So I've been trying it out, but it doesn't work. I'm still frustrated. And I'm reading all the different books and hearing all the different opinions. I'm becoming more and more confused. So my last resort is the Hare Krishna movement. I've gone through all the different websites on the internet. I've journeyed through every pornographic site that there is on the internet. I've learned how to cook meat 100 different ways. I've learned all the different varieties of intoxication and their wonderful effects. How you become enlightened the more you take. I've speculated, I heard millions of opinions, and I can't come to any conclusion. So, all right, the Hare Krishna movement, maybe one last try. These people seem happy. They claim they don't take any intoxication. All they're doing is chanting Hare Krishna. They're not even charging me for it. Their food tastes good. So let me try it out a little bit. Let me investigate. And we may try it out, and then we can see for ourselves whether or not something's there. And then we hear about the different standards. So we give up desires. We chant Hare Krishna, we take prasadam, and after some time, my taste, especially for meat eating, decreases. I actually started thinking maybe it would be all right to be a vegetarian. And then I start eating prasadam. I even learned how to offer my food to Krishna. It doesn't cost anything. Seems to taste better afterwards. And that's what really matters. And then after that, after giving up meat eating, generally people's desire for unlimited illicit sex diminishes. I said, sex life may be there, but unlimited illicit sex, like a pigeon, is not really the formula for eternal happiness. Otherwise, the pigeons would all be in heaven by now. They'd be back in the spiritual world. And then gradually, then we give up our taste for intoxication because we don't have to dissolve the meat in our stomach, and we don't have to look at every man or woman as being beautiful anymore to encourage us in the material world. So gradually our taste for intoxication, meeting, illicit sex gives up, and then we don't have to speculate. She loves me not, she loves me not, she loves me. She doesn't love me. Apparently she only loves my money. So we can give up speculation to some degree or another. And then we start discovering that there's something called the mode of goodness that actually exists, and it's not for wimpy people alone. Oh, he's so good. How wimpy. He's really out of it. He doesn't lie and cheat all the time. Must be something wrong with him. Probably was his mother or something. So then one starts thinking, well, maybe the mode of goodness has some value to it. Clean air. You don't have to breathe in your minerals every day. Fresh, clean water. That water doesn't become more. You don't need 100 different chemicals in the water to kill all the animals in it. You can actually have pure water, clean air, fresh food. That food doesn't get better when they put in 100 different preservatives. When they farm the land with herbicides, insecticides, all kinds of sides, including people's sides, in order so we can have pure, healthy food. Herbicides, insecticides, what else is there? Fungicides, anti-animal sides, and people sides. So one realizes that we should eat pure food, healthy food, organic food, fresh food, clean air, fresh water, fresh air, nice relationships between people. It's not our duty to be envious of everyone we meet, trying to compete against them. That's not the aim of life. As they had one bumper stick in America, whoever gets the most toys at the end of life wins. That's not the aim of life. So that's called that we start becoming aware that actually the cows are important animals. That these Hindus are not crazy people or worshiping some animal called the cow, because they worship anything, including a totem pole, if they saw it. So they also worship cows. The cows are the basis of economic sanity. Without the cow and the bull plowing the land, because food is the most important thing in our lives. Without food, not only the physical food that we eat, but also food is the air that we breathe. The water that we drink is also food. Without clean air, without clean food, without clean water, without a clean mind, then we're always in anxiety and sick all the time. So the cow plows the land, and it fertilizes the land with its stool. Similarly, the bull pulls the plow. So the cow gives milk, the most nourishing food, out of love, and the bull plows the land and fertilizes the land along with the cow, and it doesn't cost anything. You don't need a factory. You don't need hundreds of factories to manufacture tractors, manufacture the mechanism to harvest the produce, to seed the land. You don't need hundreds of factories to manufacture cars, to transport the food, transport the energy, to supply the tractors, to supply the arms for the Army and the Navy and the Air Force, the boats and everything, so we can go and ask donations from other countries for their energy resources and other things. You don't need all that if you have a cow and a bull. Life is simple. But then in any case, you're not going to have billion-dollar movies, so about people eating, sleeping, mating, defending, in all kinds of different situations to stimulate our desire to do the same thing here. Actually, people, if they're healthy, they don't need stimulation for eating, sleeping, mating, defending. It just comes normally and healthily, in a healthy way. But we manufacture society based upon so-called progress of technology, industry, which has simply made everything complicated. So we have to work like a dog, so we can eat like a hog, have sex like a pigeon, and defend ourselves like a tiger. And that's called progress in human civilization. And we're proud of it, that we're a big tiger, and the other countries are little tiny tigers or would-be tigers. And they say, I'm a small, don't bite me. I'm small, but I'm beautiful. So this is all propaganda. We've been miseducation. Only the Bhagavatam, in reality, can shine light on the darkness of this age of Kali Yuga, which has been propagated since we've been born, in a disciple succession coming from the illusory energy. So many textbooks, so many classes at the public school, kindergarten, from back to your up to your PhD degree. So much propaganda, all confirming all false information, all illusory information, and making people believe that they have no power, they have no influence to change their lives. They have to depend on a pill or a government, whatever, the government, the elected government, they'll save us. At the time of death, our president will come and take us back to Godhead. So much false information. But actually, if Krishna is the Supreme Person, the source of all happiness and love, then it's only natural that if you have an unlimited person who is source of everything, that you probably want to find out about him and concentrate your mind upon him. If he's the source of all pleasure and everything emanates from him, then including all living entities are part and parcel of him, and that Krishna is within the heart, and they're getting all their energy and all their love and all their tendency towards service from him and his representatives, then naturally we try and focus our mind a little bit on him and give our love to him. Because we've given our love to so many other things since time immemorial, and they've never satisfied us. So why not give, in one lifetime, give Krishna a try? Prabhupada said, don't worry, we're eternal, so we have so many opportunities in the future to try other things again. This didn't work. So Krishna says, Tesham sadadam yuktanam bhajanta priti purvakam dadami buddhiyogam tam yena mam upayantite. To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. So the same thing is repeated here. Unmotivated and uninterrupted service to Krishna. So unmotivated, uninterrupted, tesham sadatam, constantly engaged. So we're being told, practice sadhana bhakti, so many hours a day. Come to the class, come to the deity worship in the temple if you can, come to the japa period, whatever you can. Come. And if you can't, then at home, you can have your own temple. Krishna is everywhere. You don't have to come to the temple. It's not that Krishna is only in the temple. He happens to be in our heart. Even when we're not in the temple, he's still there. It's not that when we leave the temple, Krishna goes to sleep. He said, I'm not going to look. You do whatever you want. Or we go home and Krishna's not there. We look, where's Krishna? No, we could put Krishna there too. We don't even need the deities. Just put a picture of the Panchatattva, Srila Prabhupada, and have a morning program. No one's stopping us so far to do that. And Krishna's there equally. The temple is just a place to set the example. So those who come to the temple, they can participate. And those who can't, they can do it at home. There's no barrier. You can do it anywhere. Dhruva Maharaj did it on the bank of the Ganges. He made his own deity out of clay, out of mud from the Yamuna, and worshipped it, and bathed in the Jamuna, and chanted, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narada Muni didn't say, here's an invitation to the temple. Well, you can't stop by. There was no temple. If there was, maybe he would have gone to the temple, but there was no temple in Vrindavan at that time. Still, he went back to Godhead. He saw Krishna in 6 months. No one came from the temple and said, Dhruva Maharaj, do you really think you can make spiritual progress if you don't come every morning to the temple? Don't believe Narada Muni. So, uninterrupted means we want to at least have a sadhana so we get some taste. We develop our taste. As Srila Rupa Goswami, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes in the Madhurya Kandambini, when we're beginning devotional service, that when we're doing sadhana bhakti, there's a little area in our lives that we're actually experiencing something of Krishna consciousness. And the rest of our lives are usually clouded with all kinds of preoccupations and other things going on. So that's to be expected. That little intensity of sadhana bhakti hopefully gives us a little experience that we become encouraged to have a little bit more of it. Do it every day. And if we expect, well, why can't I become perfect overnight? Then we have to develop patience, because it doesn't happen overnight. But we have to develop uninterrupted. At least our sadhana should be uninterrupted, if possible, wherever we are. And unmotivated means, as Prabhupada said, chant Hare Krishna, be happy. Because we're looking for happiness, and we're thinking happiness is going to come outside from some kind of accumulation of something, some situation will make me happy in this material world. So maybe some situation made us happy for a few moments or a few years, whatever else, but it doesn't last. But we can be happy anywhere. When they did a survey in the world, who are the happiest people in the world? That the people who came out on top were the people living in Bangladesh. The people whose homes get swept away by the monsoons every year and have nothing. All they have is relationships with each other, loving relationships. All they do is depend on each other. They have happy, nice families and nice community, because they're not so much envious of each other because there's nothing to be envious of. So they're the happiest. They're not necessarily transcendentally happiness, but they're happier than other people who are just madly trying to accumulate things and being envious of those who have more than they have. And working, even though they're not envious of their neighbor, they're envious of other countries. They're indifferent. They don't mind if some country goes and completely destroys another one, as long as I get some percentage of it. So that's enviousness. Everything's all right if I'm all right. Doesn't matter what people do in my name. As long as I'm all right, then it's all right. And if I get some benefit from it, so what? I deserve it. I was born in God's kingdom. Therefore, unmotivated means we should just be happy that Krishna has given us so much, an opportunity to become Krishna, to become conscious of Him. Whatever the other problems in our life are, they're there, and we should try to do the best we can to solve them, but not to dwell on them unnecessarily, but try to do the impossible. Or expect there's going to be some time in this lifetime I'm going to be free from all material problems. The sun will be exactly where I want it to be. The temperature will be exactly what I want it to be. There won't be any more hurricanes or tornadoes or earthquakes. The demigods will simply bless me wherever I am. Everything will be adjusted. Everyone will love me. Even the people who are envious of me now, then they'll all love me and appreciate me and serve me like I was the supreme. And my body will be perfect, even up to the age of 129. Not a creak in a bone. Everything will be, the doctors, as soon as I get some problem, whatever I have, they'll just replace. First my heart, then my lungs, then my brain, and everything will be all right. I'll go on perfectly happy forever. So if one thinks like that, then when it's completely an illusion, but we're only trying to be partially an illusion, so we can make some progress in Krishna consciousness. We expect to be an illusion now, because we're surrounded by illusion. We're accustomed to it. If we suddenly realized we were 1/10,000th of the size of the tip-parent size, we'd actually get quite depressed. I thought I was small. I'm trying to become humble, but not that humble. This is really embarrassing. I hope my mother doesn't see me now. She had better expectations for me. So we're an illusion, but that's right. We should appreciate we're only partially an illusion, and we're coming out of it. We're waking up. While others are digging deeper into it, and we should try to help those who are innocent to try to understand. Yes, we're all an illusion. Not only they're an illusion, we're also an illusion, but we've waken up enough to understand that we're an illusion in the process of getting out of it, to actually find real happiness permanently in relation to reality. And the reality is a person named Krishna and his associates and their activities, not the associates of these so-called pretenders, so-called leaders, who are all blind to reality. Don't even understand they're not their body, but to speak of anything else. So thank you. It's nice being here. Hope I didn't offend anyone or too many people. Yes. Narottama.
Of a company of surgeons, and they've successfully been able to do a head transplant where they can take a head off of somebody that's old and put their head like on a 20-year-old body.
Yeah, that's already been done, so what? Lord Shiva already did that. Case of doctrine. That's been done millions of years ago. What's their credit? They can't change the soul, though. They think that the brain is the source of knowledge, but the brain is just a computer. They can't change the person who's working the computer. So they have no credits, or even, just like Prabhupada said, they're spending billions of dollars or trillions of dollars to create one blade of grass, but there's billions of blades of grass already. What credit do they have? Just give us $100 million, we'll give you a whole bunch of grass. You don't have to create it. We have plenty of it. Yes.
When this becoming free, unmotivated, and uninterrupted in devotional service, once Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he gave this example for us as disciples, and he said, when I look at all of you, he said, it's kind of like I'm like a father visiting his son in prison. And he said, the son's in prison, he's in a cell, he's locked, he can't do anything. and the father comes and sees his condition, and he feels, compassion and wants to help him. And the son inside the prison cell is saying, "Dad, I love you. I'll do whatever you want." And then he said, that's what he felt like, his disciples telling him, "Yes, I'll do whatever you want." But we're so entangled in, desires and material reactions and responsibilities and everything, we really can't do much, or if anything at all. So what would you say?
Well, I'd
for
say
our
that we're in
condition?
multiple prisons, which has multiple locks on it. And that Prabhupada's and his representatives, are offering us multiple keys. So we take the first key and we get out of our first imprisonment, the first door of our imprisonment. And then we look around and say, well, this is pretty good. This is better than my old prison. I think I'll enjoy here for some time. Maybe there's a TV in this one. Wow. Let's turn in, see what's there. And then we get tired and we say, well, then the next key is offered to us. We unlock there and then we say, well, this is not so bad. The food's here, it's good. It's better than the old one. The air is better. The water's, I get a bottle of water in here. Maybe I'll stay here for a while. And then you offer another key and we get out. Hey, wait a second, this looks like heaven. I don't think I'm going to leave. This is exactly what I was looking for. And then we may stay there for some time and then wind up back in the original prison we were in. We say, wait a second, I didn't expect to get back here sometime. Give me the key to get out of that, So progressively, we're handed keys, and progressively we make progress, and sometimes we go back again. We need a little reminder that this is not the place that we're supposed to be, till finally the last key is there, is offered to us, and we get out. Go back to Godhead.
What, once burned, twice shy type thing, where we're going to get reactions when we don't surrender, and then those reactions, if we learn from them, gradually we'll come to the point where we don't want anything in the material world and we don't want to be anything in the material world.
And we want to be something in the spiritual world. We want to be Krishna, the servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. We finally realize there's nothing better than that. Yes. Bhagavan Mishra. Vishwa Bhagavan.
We can understand that the body and the soul are different, because when the body dies, the soul leaves, and then the body stays behind, goes into oblivion. But while we're alive, it seems like we kind of are these bodies. I mean, philosophically, we know that there's a difference between the body and the self, but he tells me that he's from South India. He's a certain, we all relate to each other on the bodily platform. Even Srila Prabhupada, we saw him, his deity is of his body, although it's completely spiritual and eternal at the same time. So how are we, I know we're not the body, but how, in a way, aren't we the body? Like in the way we react?
How can you not be the body and be the body? We can be identified with our false ego and all the things, the upadhis that surround it, all the designations that we have, and that creates the desires within us. It keeps us entangled. So if we want to identify ourselves with those things, we can. I mean, Prabhupada related to people sometimes on that level. When he gave class, he didn't relate to people on that level. When he dealt with them personally, preaching to them, he didn't relate to them on that level. But when he dealt with people who were completely unfamiliar with Krishna consciousness, then sometimes he related to them on that level, because otherwise they wouldn't have heard the other levels that were possible. He didn't end it with, you're from India and I'm from India, let's be friends. He didn't end it there. But he established a relation with people, sometimes based upon their misconceptions of who they thought they were. But then he tried to further their information so that they could gradually understand that that's not who they actually are. Now, Krishna is perfect, has said, Daiviyeshu Gunamayi, Mamaya Dharatya. He's created a perfect illusion for us. It is as strong as he is in the material world for us. Otherwise, Krishna is in our heart, unless he created such a powerful illusion, how can we deny his existence within us? That he's giving us remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Everyone. How can we deny his existence? How can we deny our own existence? Because he's created a wonderful illusion for us to be in and to live out our fantasies as long as we want. But they're not real. Ultimately, they're only temporary. Not real in the sense that they're only temporary. They may be experiences that we have, but they come and go like seasonal changes all the time. So we want to be convinced that I'm a spiritual being in a body too. Well, that's the gift of the illusory energy. Everything's possible. That's the amazing thing about Maya. There's unlimited things that she creates, unlimited ideas. We don't even know what they are so far, because we wouldn't even appreciate it. In Brihad Bhagavatamrita, there's one devotee who, what's his name? Gopakumara. Is going from one planet to the next. He's going through all the different planets, from this planet to Indraloka, to Marhaloka, to Janaloka, to Papsaloka, Siddhaloka, Brahmaloka. Then he goes through the coverings. And he's seeing the deities and they're being worshipped, and it's even more wonderful than Brahmaloka, the coverings. You're living longer, at least as long, and everything is even more enjoyable. And finally he gets to the last covering, and Maya herself comes and offers herself. Sex personified comes and offers herself. Stay here, I really need you, I love you, I want you, I'll make you happy here, etc. So then he has to make a choice. This is what I've been looking for since Sun Memorial. So maybe I should stay here for a while and see what it's like. But then he decides to merge in Brahman and go further than that to Mahashiva Loka, etc. So there's unlimited opportunities, much more in the material world than we can imagine. So one of them may, so many, even on our level, there's so many crazy conceptions we may have. And Krishna will grant them to us. He'll convince us, just so we can slow down and take it easy, and, tomorrow I'll become Krishna conscious, not so much of a rush. Let's offer respects to Maya and not get her too agitated. We don't want her to, try to lure us too much, so we'll take it easy for a while. So these conceptions will be given to us to help us to stay here. Hopefully not too long, because we don't want to stay here too long. After 10,000 years are over, we're going to be in trouble. And there won't be any prasadam, there won't be any harinams, there won't be any of these books that Prabhupada put around, so that we can realize who we actually are, rather than who we'd like to be. Yes.
As you advance in Krishna consciousness, there comes to a point where, at least I'm talking for myself now. So you have that fully surrendered state, unmotivated, uninterrupted, where you're directly in union with Krishna and you're experiencing this ecstatic state of loving service. And Krishna is reciprocating. He's loving you and serving you. It's reciprocal. And and you're completely captured by Krishna and in your natural condition. But from our position, right now we're hearing about this, but we're obviously not on that level of spiritual, attainment. So what do we do in the meantime?
Come to the program, that's all. It's
that simple, right? Just morning, evening program? Could you just touch on that for us, please?
Yeah, Krishna is not different from his name. At least we should accept that theoretically. And if we try to chant nicely, happily, then maybe we'll get some experience of that. We may not see Krishna directly enter immediately into his pastimes, because of course we have to come to the platform where we can chant clearly. Not schnick, schnick, ram, ram, day, 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 hey, kitty, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare, Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Chant clearly and listen. Not Hare Krishna, 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 Hare, Hare Ram. 16 rounds with the holy name. First round we get knocked out. Hare Krishna. We have to take the chanting seriously. Then we might be able to feel his presence eventually, chant clearly and happily, and actually remember something about him spontaneously. Remember the deity form, remember something we read, then to feel his presence in that remembrance. Then the presence, the feeling may become more blissful, and we remember his associates, his quality, his path. This is a gradual process, realizing that Krishna and his name are not different. What to speak of the books in him are not different, or the deities in him are not different, or the devotees are actually not different from him. That everyone is actually not different from him. So this is a gradual process of doing it, but we have to start somewhere. So, regular program. If we can't do it 3 hours a day, do it 1 hour a day. If we can't do it 1 hour a day, then do it half an hour a day. If you can't do it 5 minutes a day, something, start somewhere every day, and then see the difference. See what happens. Not that we're going to become something different from Krishna's eternal servant, but we're covered, and therefore we have so many different ideas about reality due to our past activities. So at least shine a little bit of light. If you can't shine a spotlight, at least shine a little flashlight. See what it looks like. Yes.
With the statement that in our conditioned state, so we're theoretically understanding I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul, but spirit soul to me is very a vague concept. It's just it's kind of impersonal, that I'm a spirit soul, it's eternal, it's energy, but you don't really have an identity, you don't really have a form, you don't have, at that point philosophically. So to me, relating from that ignorant state of not even knowing really who I am to Krishna seems to be almost meaningless in certain respects. Here's what I'm wanted to ask you is, in that condition.
No. Well, I don't think it's a big one sense. Let's see. When we're sleeping at night, you're dreaming. Do you remember your dream last night? You had? Anything? Anyhow, do you remember any? Did you ever remember any dreams you had? Do you ever think yourself to be something other than Narottam Das? So when you wake up, do you start thinking, how did I ever think, I had that identity? Now I have this identity. But then we realize I was dreaming. So we don't have a big problem, How did I was dreaming last night. I didn't, I didn't know I was a spiritual being. I didn't know I was Narottam Das, How is it possible I was dreaming last night? But then we wake up and we think, now I'm Narottam Das. And then we think, well, my mere spirit soul. And, what could it possibly be like when I wake up? We don't have a problem when we're sleeping, thinking that I'm this identity. Then when we wake up, we have no problem thinking it was a false identity. It wasn't really me. Now I'm Narottam. So why can't we accept that when I wake up, I'll have a different identity other than Narottam? Yeah. Besides that, we're conscious. Is there any part of your body that's conscious of you? Is your hand? If you look at your hand, can you tell me what I look like? And the hand goes, sorry. I have no idea. Oh, the hand is completely unconscious. Is it a problem for us that we're conscious and our hand is unconscious, and still we identify with it? No, it's no problem for us at all. But we realize we're crazy. How do I identify with something unconscious and I'm conscious? In fact, the only reason I identify with it is because I have consciousness in my hand. It's me who has the consciousness, not the hand has consciousness in me. I have consciousness in the hand. The hand can't talk to me, can't do anything for me. I'm just conscious of it. But we don't find it a problem because that's, as again, it's a gift of the illusory energy. So as far as our relation with Krishna, well, we study the Bhagavad Gita, and it was at least theoretical, we'll find out that actually even the hand, even my legs, or everything else that supposedly is me, unless Krishna supplies me with intelligence, knowledge, and forgetfulness, unless Krishna supplies me with the energy by which to move the hand, I may not be able to move it. So if it's me, why can't I just move it? Unless Krishna supplies with the energy that I need through maybe his material or spiritual energy to do it. I'm not really the controller of this body. I'm not even controller of my own mind. I can't say, right now I want to remember everyone's name in the room. I could try to do it, and when Krishna sees I have enough desire to do it, he may help me. But I can't say I can do it right now, just off the bat. I have to practice. I need Krishna's help, even to do that. It's just that I'm a little bit proud. I think I don't need Krishna's help. I think when I do it, after getting Krishna's help, I just deny it's he who gave me the help. Like Prabhupada was walking up the hill in New Vrindavan with Bhavananda Prabhu at that time. And Prabhupada, when they got up the hill, he threw Bhavananda's hand away and said, I don't need you anymore. So Bhavananda Prabhu was very disturbed. He said, well, Prabhupada, I was just trying to help you up the hill. So Prabhupada said, it's just like the Mayavadis. They say, yes, I take the help of the Guru to get up the hill, and when finally I get it, I just throw him away and I become God. So we're praying to Krishna all the time, please help me, I don't know what to do. Then Krishna gives us intelligence, and we do it. It becomes successful, we take all the credit for it. We forget that it was Krishna who gave us the intelligence and the opportunities to do it. We just put him behind and say, it's me, I know. All right, it's me. What about Krishna? Yeah, he was there for a little while, who knows? But ultimately it was me. Anything else? Thank you. Look forward to seeing everyone again soon. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Haribol.